G'day and welcome to Fliteboard headquarters in beautiful Byron Bay, Australia. We're really excited to introduce you to your new Fliteboard. We designed a board that we would want for ourselves, one that offers outstanding design, engineering, craftsmanship and materials. Every detail has been refined for high performance, ease of use and durability, and we've really spared no expense to create a product and a new experience that we know you will love. Okay, let's get your board assembled and get you up and running.
Charging. We'll start by charging flight controller. Plug the charging cable into an outlet. Turn on the controller by holding the plus and mode buttons together for 3 seconds. The flight logo will appear. If the charger is flat, it will turn on automatically once connected to the charger. Open the rubber cover on the underside and attach the magnetic charging plug. Make sure the gold charging pins are properly connected. The word charging will appear on the screen when properly connected with the charge percentage shown. Always check to ensure the controller is at least 50% charged before each use. To charge Flight Cell, first remove it from its protective case. Place the battery in a cool, dry location away from flammable or hot items or direct sunlight. Connect the charger plugs to the battery terminals. Clip the magnetic charging clip to the battery as shown to wake the battery up for charging. Check that connections have been made correctly. When charging with the standard charger, 2 red lights should be visible. The charger will automatically turn off when complete. It takes about 3.5 hours to fully charge the Flight Cell Explore battery, and under 2 hours with the optional fast charger. You can use the magnetic charging clip at any time to check the battery charge. A fully charged battery will show 3 green lights. Preparing the board. Okay, let's get the board ready. Remove the board from its bag and place it upside down on top of the bag. It's important to keep the black carbon out of direct sunlight for long periods of time. Before you connect the e-foil to the board, check that the orange O-ring is clean of any sand, debris or kinks and is correctly in position. Adding the e-foil. Next, open the e-foil bag. The Fliteboard e-foil includes the propulsion system integrated into the hydrofoil fuselage. At the other end of the mast is our patented flight box, which makes assembly super simple. Inside the flight box is a powerful onboard computer. Carefully fit the flight box into the mast box on the bottom of the board. As you do this, direct the power cables towards the battery compartment. Ensure that no cables are compressed and that the O-ring has not moved. Check that flight box is evenly seated and flush in the mast box. Add a little bit of TEF gel to the bolt. Use the 4 20mm stainless steel bolts to secure the e-foil. Tighten them up with the hex key provided in a cross pattern. Apply enough force that the bolts are tight, but not so much that the hex key tool is bending. When properly tightened, the O-ring will be compressed and watertight. If the O-ring is missing or damaged, or if the bolts are not tight, then the board will leak water into the battery compartment. Add the fuselage tail and wings. Take the fuselage tail section from the case and insert it into the fin under the propeller guard. Use the 16mm bolt and add a thin layer of TEF gel to prevent corrosion. You'll need to push and hold the tail in to compress the small O-ring, which will then allow you to tighten the bolt using the hex key. We recommend the number 3 wing shim. The number 4 and number 5 wing shims will change the balance of the foil for advanced riders. Take the supplied plastic wing shim and place it in position on the fuselage using 15 and 20mm bolts. Add a little bit of TEF gel to the bolts before attaching the stabilizer wing. There's a sacrificial anode inside the fuselage, above the front wing. The anode minimises the galvanic corrosion reaction that can occur when you use your Fliteboard in salt water. Even so, it is very important to regularly check your bolts and reapply TEF gel to prevent damage or seizing. Remove your cruiser or flyer wing from the travel case. Check that you've got the correct length bolts for the wing by inserting them into the wing. Add a little bit of TEF gel to the bolt. Make sure you tighten the bolt securely to make sure there's no movement between the wing and the fuselage. Connecting Flight Cell. Now to connect flight cell, which is our battery. Before turning the board over, it's a good idea to add the wing covers. This protects the wings from getting damaged and also protects you from the sharp trailing edges. Carefully turn over, trying to minimize weight placed directly on the wingtips when you place the board down. Open the battery compartment by twisting the two latches to open the board lid. Inspect the black rubber seals for damage. Make sure the seal and the sealing surface on the lid are clean of any sand for a great seal. Clean if necessary. Before the battery is connected, we must first connect the board's data receiver to the flight box. Connect it to the flight box. Ensure careful alignment, taking care not to damage the small data pins. Move the cables to the side and carefully lower the base of the flight cell into the board with the warning label facing up. Connect the flight box data connector to the flight cell. Connect the orange power cable to the orange battery socket and the black power cable to the black battery socket. You will feel a click with each successful connection. Close the lid, making sure there's nothing caught between the lid and the seal. Twist both latches and lock to secure the lid closed. Check the lid is closed evenly. You'll hear 3 beeps and see the light on the receiver when the board turns on. If the receiver light is not active, open the lid and check that all the cables are all properly connected. Pairing and arming. If the receiver light is solid, your flight controller is already connected. If the receiver light is flashing, your controller and board need to be paired. Before going anywhere, you must be familiar with the pairing process, which may be required in the water. Refer to the guide on screen or check the instruction booklet. Pairing the flight controller to the board is easy. Hold the plus button on the flight controller for 5 seconds to put it into pairing mode. The words "Looking for new pair" will appear. To put the board into pairing mode, hold the bottom of the hand controller in the magnetic arming pad on the board receiver. This is the arming position. The light will change temporarily to blue when the controller is in the arming position. Hold still for 10 to 12 seconds, and the board will go into pairing mode and connect to the hand controller. Be careful not to hold in this position for too long. A longer hold will tell the system to go into software update mode. A paired controller will flash red and then solid. Be careful when riding not to accidentally hold the plus button for 5 seconds, or to hold the controller over the arming pad for 10 seconds, as these steps will put the system into pairing mode and cause the connection to be lost. Once the pairing is complete, you can confirm by arming the board. A paired controller must be armed to start the motor. This safety lock feature ensures that riders cannot accidentally spin the propeller by accidentally bumping the throttle trigger. You can test the motor on land, however, you must ensure that no one is near the propeller when you're doing so. To unlock the motor, place the bottom of the flight controller over the board arming pad. The light will turn blue and the screen will display a 5-second countdown. Pull the throttle trigger within the 5-second countdown window to activate the propeller. Pairing and arming will not function if the arming pad is submerged. If you are a heavier rider or using the smaller Pro board, we suggest leaning back on the board slightly to clear the receiver above the water surface. As you arm and pull the trigger, lean forward again to flatten the board off. When successfully armed, the controller will vibrate, signaling to move it away from the arming pad. If you don't within 10 seconds, the board will revert to pairing mode. Okay, your board is ready to ride and take flight. But first, please ensure you're familiar with local laws, licensing, waterways, and water depths and currents, which can be affected by tide times. It is your responsibility to abide by your local laws, speed, and safety requirements. In all cases, do not operate Fliteboard within 150 metres of people. Do not Fliteboard further from shore than you can return by swimming. Constantly monitor the battery of the flight controller and the flight cell at all times. The battery times are variable depending on many factors, including wind, current, weight, speed, and power consumption. We recommend the use of a helmet and a PFD, and also letting a friend know your plans before you go. We also recommend you take a lesson with an approved flight school. Refer to our How to Fliteboard video for tips and tricks on getting started and up and foiling.